Hi folks, welcome back to the Addicted Bookworm. I'm Hermione. On this channel we do book hauls, book reviews, weekly wrap-ups, monthly wrap-ups, reviews of both physical and digital media, books, and so much more. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because I got to be at work today in about an hour and a half. So yeah, so I just want to do this video and upload it so that I will give you the content you want. So, I want to kind of warn people that a vast majority of the items that I have on here, of course, is books, but also I did read a lot of comic books uh, through the DC Infinite app, through, of course, Kindle and everything. So you get a general idea of like where I'm at and everything. So I'm going to be reading off the Goodreads. It took me a little bit of time to figure out like where was the last book that the first book that I read in this pile, going all the way up to the next one, or to the last one. All right. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is Valentine Murder by Lindsay um, uh, Meyer. I always like, you know. All right, so yeah, this is the first one. Okay, so just like the title implies, this murder happens around Valentine's Day, or maybe a little bit before Valentine's Day, but it's called the Valentine's murder because the theme of it is Valentine's Day. In all honesty, um, I really, I really quite did not get what was the point of killing somebody around this holiday season. Our holiday period. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's, you know. But even though I didn't understand why this happened, I did enjoy the concept. I did enjoy the characters. I always enjoy these books so much. These books are so well written and so wonderful that you can't help but get really invested in the book and all that. So absolutely did enjoy this book a lot. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was really good. A nice cozy murder mystery where even though the reasoning behind it at the end of it is stupid, you really appreciate the fact that it was a well written story, and the characters once again are a delight to read. And I did get to the reasoning behind it. I totally forgot the reasoning behind it, which means I'll probably have to reread it at some point in the future. But yeah, all right. Then the next one, let me get to it. Okay, is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Now I'm the kind of person that I'm like, I bought this book last month, along with the book that I showed you guys on Thursday that I was going to be reading next. I could not put this book down. This book was good. It was good. I was kind of leery about buying this book because I did not know if I was going to enjoy it. There's a lot of people, they're like, cozy romances are stupid and everything. But it's about this woman who leaves her high-paced job to take over, I believe it's her grandmother's pumpkin spice cafe. And she's been hearing noises for quite some time. And I thought when she heard the noises, it'd be like an intruder or something. It's not. It's a cat. And of course, she falls in love with this guy who wants nothing to do with the town gossip. And he falls in love with her, of course. It's a romance, but it's nice. And I did enjoy it a lot better than some of the cozy fantasies that are out there. So, yes, I did enjoy this a lot, and I give it 5 stars on Goodreads. Alright, on to the next one. Alright, so the next one is Daughter of the Ice. This is by, I cannot pronounce the author's name at all. It's like a French name. So obviously it comes out in its mother tongue, and then it's released in English. Or it could just be that he or she lives in America and decides to publish it in English. I don't know. But it's basically about this woman who's she basically lives in this icy world with her people, and her people decide to attack humans and all that type of stuff. And yeah, it's an interesting read, to say the least. All right. Then we have Murder in the Mystery Suite by Ellery Adams. Now, I was very, very, I wasn't really excited about starting this series. Even though I bought it last month, I wasn't really excited about this series because of the fact that I really did not like her other series. I did not like it at all. I found it to be boring and stupid. This one is my third attempt, or my whatever attempt, to read a book by her. And I really found that I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was very well written. The characters were engaging. I thought the idea of a house dedicated to different genres was interesting, and I just found myself glued to it. It was a lot of fun to read. The pacing was good. The characters were engaging. And we really did want to find out exactly what happened. So yeah, I gave this 5 stars because it earned it. Alright. Then the next one is Malice by John Gwynne. I hope I'm pronouncing this guy's last name correctly. So I've been hearing a lot of things like on Book Talk and on BookTube and everything about this being a really great series. And I have to admit, I highly enjoyed it. I enjoyed this so much that I was going to get the second book, but I decided not to. I'm actually going to get it next month. Or actually, I'm going to get it later on this month, and then I'm going to read it for April. So Malice covers 4 characters, and you can tell there's a lot of Norse leanings, and if I have it wrong, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But there's a lot of Norse elements in it, and I just enjoyed it because I like stuff with a Norse element to it. It was just a lot of fun to read. I had a blast with the characters. I wanted to see where they were going and what they were going to do and what actions were they going to do. And yeah, John Gwynne is a great author. I really liked this book, and I highly enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was definitely worth the rating. The next one is Killer Run by Lynn Calhoun. So this is the fifth book in the series. It's actually not the 6th. I read the 6th first before the 5th, but this is the 5th book in the series, and basically it's about this, they're having this run, I believe for charity, and a dead body is discovered. And so everybody's like, why did this person get killed and everything? And our main character, Jill. Jill, of course, because she has solved other ones, and because she too wants to find out the truth, she goes about to try to solve the case. She does, and it was a good read. It was a very, very good read. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was a lot of fun to read. I highly, highly enjoyed it. Alright, moving on up. Alright. Alright, so I read A Blood on, what's it? A Blood and Fire. Another one that I feel has some kind of leanings of like your your medieval, like medieval society and stuff. I don't really remember what the book was about, but I will tell you that I did enjoy the book a lot. The characters were very, very engaging. I enjoyed meeting them and seeing where they were going and all that type of stuff. Even though I don't remember what the book was about, I just had a lot of fun reading it. Alright, so we have Spellcasting in Silk by Juliet Blackwell. And this is the, I think this is the seventh book in the series. And basically it is about this woman who ends up committing suicide, even though she did not have any kind of leaning towards committing suicide. And Lily Ivory has to try to find out what is going on. And it has definitely some cultural practices involved, like a lot of stuff in her books. But I did enjoy it a lot, and Oscar the Pig was delightful once again. So yeah, I highly enjoyed it. Give it 5 stars. Then we have R.L. Stine's The Third Horror by, this is 99 Fair Street, The House of Evil by R.L. Stine, The Third Horror. This is a conclusion to the trilogy. This is actually, I believe, the second trilogy that he brought out. And basically, Cody is going back to 99 Fair Street to try to free her sister from the grasp of the house. I did enjoy this a lot. It had all of the 90s feels to it. It had all of the danger and everything that came with it. So did enjoy this book a lot. So I gave it 5 stars as well. So far I have not encountered, so far in rereading the Fair Street series, I have not encountered any books so far that I really did not like. Alright. Okay. Alright, so One Day in Horrorland, also by R.L. Stine. This is a reprint of it. I don't know if it has the language removed, because I don't really remember the first one to do that kind of analysis. And once again, I'm sorry for my lisp. This is what happens when you lose your teeth. But anyways, this is about a family that finds themselves in Horrorland, and of course the kids think that it's going to be a lot of fun, but it turns out to not be so fun. And I did enjoy the characters and the situation, and it was just like in the TV show. It was exactly. So if you've watched the TV show, you know what happens in the book. So yeah. Alright. Then I read Southern Magic by Amy Bowles. Now I got this as a box Kindle set. And basically it is about this woman. She has to go back to where her family's from, because she now owns this familiar shop where she helps people find their familiar. She's highly allergic to pets, but when a pawnbroker ends up dead with a knife, and she's the one holding it because she's the one who saw him just as he was about ready to die, of course she is the this prime suspect, but she she's been determined to prove her innocence, and if that means staying there and everything, she will. The actual killer was shocking, but overall I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough to her this month. As everyone knows, I am going to be reading book 2. This next one is Terry Pratchett's Sorcery. This is the 5th book in the Discworld series. The third time that Ricewind is in this book, in this series. And basically, it is about the 8th son that's a sorcerer. His father actually defied death, so death has kind of been, like trying to get him. And he has been really pulling the strings in his own son's life and making him do stuff that he probably would not want to do. I highly enjoyed this. Terry Pratchett's always a win and everything. Alright. Moving on. Okay. The next one is A Bookbinder's Guide to Love by Kathy Garbria. This is the one that I got, that I checked out from the library for Valentine's Day. And it's about this guy who comes to work at this shop. He's a bookbinder. He's an expert bookbinder. He is actually trained with another bookbinder, so he's good at his craft. He falls in love with one of the women there. She with him. It was a delightful story, and I really enjoyed it a lot. The next one is going to be Hexed by Kevin Herney. This is the second book in the Iron Druid, and it follows the events of the first book, and he's, of course, is in more trouble than he was before. You have more witches that want him dead. You got so-called witch hunters, and you got just a whole lot of trouble and a whole lot of fun. I really did enjoy this book a lot, and I will actually be getting I actually have the 3rd book in the series, but I will not be reading that one until next month. Alright. Alright. Moving up the list. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we're getting close to the bottom. So the next one is The Body in the Bookstore by Ellie Alexander. This was actually a audiobook that I read or listened to. And basically you have this woman who works at the Hidden Bookcase, which is a shop, and a body is discovered in the Hidden Bookcase, which is where the name comes from, and it happens to be one of her former classmates. And we find out at the end of it basically what led her to becoming a raging alcoholic, and it's very, very sad that it happened, and she feels like that she should have realized that something was wrong. And nobody believed her as a little girl. Nobody believed that she witnessed a guy burying a body. And it just really affected this girl growing up. And she acted the way she did because she knew nobody was going to believe her, even if she told the truth. So very sad what happened. But very glad the killer was caught. Alright, the next one is Let's Bake a Deal. I believe this is the second book. No, it might be the first book. I don't really know. But anyways, Let's Bake a Deal was part of the pile of books I did read this month, or last month. And basically, hold on a second. I'm gonna look at this up because I do not know if. Okay, yeah, alright, okay, I get it now. Alright, so Let's Bake a Deal is the second book in the Buried Twins mystery series. And basically what's going on is they're asked by their boss, which is not really a boss, that to come with him to this retirement home, and there is a guy who was found with a knife in his hand, and of course, he doesn't believe that this guy did it. He trained with him when he was sane, and there is all sorts of stuff that goes on in this book, and I was like, what, what the heck is going on with this? It just does not make a lick of sense. But but overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the characters, like I did in the first book. I just thought it was a blast to read. And we find out that the woman actually was not murdered. She committed suicide. And it was a very sad ending to the book. The next one is How to Charm a Nerd by the same author as the first one. And once again, this was another library ebook that I checked out. And this is another of the women who is, she actually is a witch. She actually has magical abilities. And she falls in love with this D&D player who also falls in love with her. And we do kind of get an insight to how the game is played, which was really interesting. I did like that a lot. Overall, highly enjoyed the book. And it's just a cute little romance from Harlequin. Alright. Then getting away from romance, we are getting to The Sword of Destiny, which is the second book in the Witcher series. The whole thing was a little bit confusing. It was. I don't really remember a whole bunch about the book, but it's just typically his adventures and him fighting monsters and all that type of stuff. And Yennefer's also in it as well, so is Dandelion. You really kind of don't know, like, who's going to go after them, and especially after The Witcher. I might not remember much about this book because, as everyone knows, I've read so many of them this last month. But I do know that this was extremely well written, and I just highly, highly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I do highly recommend The Witcher to anyone who wants to read some really good fantasy. Alright. The next one is By Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, I'm going to be in all honesty with this book. I did not like this book at all. I really did not like this book. I don't remember anything about this book. And I read it. I read this freaking book and I don't remember anything about it. That's how unimpressed. I think my brain shut off. I will not be buying the third book because if the second book is bad. The first book was good. The second book, no. No. I don't remember anything about it. That's why I gave it 1 star on Goodreads. It was just a really bad book. And I just, no. Alright. Then, Bells, Spells, and Murders by Carol J. Perry. Another great book. I read this book to cleanse my palate of this book. Yeah. So this takes place in Christmas time. A lot of Christmas themes. And what happens is this guy who's part of this historical society ends up dead. And Lee sorry, I had to look at it. Lee is the one who finds the body, and we find out a whole bunch about the victim. And I will say, he led a very interesting life. I really, really thought that he did. And I was just invested in the book, and the book did not disappoint. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was just a really great book, and Carol does a great job in writing this world and writing the characters, and in a very real place, Salem. And when we find out who killed him, we kind of go, dang, that was a shame. But yeah. Alright. Then the next one is Edgedancer by Brandon Sanderson. Edgedancer by Brandon Sanderson. Another book that I just did not care for. The characters were, oh my god. I was doing this on my fantasy channel, and I'm like, no. Absolutely not. Yeah. No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I believe I gave it 2 stars, only because the cover was pretty. Alright. So the next one is Catnip and Crimes by Lucia Recco. This is the second book in the series. This was a Nook read. I read this on my Nook. And it's about a woman who is learning what she has to learn in order to be able to do all the stuff that witches are known for doing. And while she is studying, there is a dead body, and she has to figure out exactly who killed this person and everything. And she does rely a lot on her magic, which is totally fine. I totally get it. Because that's the point. She is supposed to rely on her magic more than other things. Another delightful read. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. The characters are great. This plot was engaging. It was so much fun to read. And I actually have books 3 and 4. I will not be reading book 3 this month. I'll be reading book 3 next month, and everything. So yeah, just another great book, and everything. Alright. Then we have Nightshade by Laura K. Hamilton. And before I begin, I want to say this. Have you ever read an author's name and think, you know, that author reminds me of someone, and then you read their bibliography and you're like, oh yeah, I was right. Laura K. Hamilton, the author of this book, is the same author that did those erotic fantasy books that I love. I love those books. This book, written by her, you can tell right off the bat that she's not really super good at writing science fiction. But she probably took this job to write this Star Trek book well before she started her erotic fantasy books. It was kind of like a way of her getting into the door into the publishing world. And that's not bad. That's not bad, especially if you can write very well. So, as much as I like her later books, this one was kind of good. It wasn't like super good, but it was kind of good. It was actually better than number 25, the one that I have on eBay right now because I want to get rid of it. I can tell from this that she's trying to learn, she's trying to hone her craft and get her craft really, really sharp. So I can give her a space for that. Um, but also you can tell, like, in this book, that she's very good at writing torture scenes. Very good at that. And you can tell that kind of talent later on in her own run of books. But I gave this book 3 stars. It was good, but it was not like say book 1 or book 2 of this series. But yeah. Alright, moving on. Okay, so Grady Hendrix, How to Sell a Haunted House. I'm sorry, I have a lisp. I really am sorry. Alright, so this one is another great book by Grady Hendrix. This is about this brother and sister who lose their parents, and he gets everything. She gets the art. Well, he gets everything but the artwork and other things that mother made. And Pomsky, the sadistic puppet, is in this one. And literally, this is terror, and it's like, you're just like, oh my lord, what the hell am I reading in this one? Really did enjoy this book a lot. I found this book to be very, very, very well written, and I had a lot of fun reading it. So yeah, I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. Alright, the next ones are just going to be comic books, because I did read a lot of comic books. Let me take it back. I also read Daughters of Darkness by Blair Daniels. This is a women's anthology series, and it's just a whole batch of weird. I did enjoy the stories a lot. I wouldn't say I enjoyed all of them a lot, but I did enjoy a vast majority of them a lot, and everything. So then I read Scooby Apocalypse Volume 1. This was a library borrow, and basically it's the Scooby Gang, and they're in this apocalyptic world, it's Velma's creation. And yeah, it's one big nightmare. So I also read Batman Full Moon. I got this off of Kindle, the first volume, the first issue. Then the other ones I read on DC Infinite, because I do have a DC Infinite collection membership. Then I read so for people that are comic book fans, basically it's about this werewolf, and he goes and scratches Batman, and Batman becomes a werewolf himself. Yeah, you can't bat attitude lycanthropy. You cannot. Oh no. But I did enjoy it. It's a Black Label series, and a lot of fun to read. Definitely for a more mature audience. Then you have Absolute Superman. Another one that I enjoyed it. Then I read Aquaman, Absolute Wonder Woman number 2, Batgirl number 1, Batgirl number 2, Batgirl number 3, Absolute Wonder Woman number 3, Absolute Wonder Woman number 4, DC Horror number 1. Oh my lord. I said this on my comic book channel, that if the Comic Code Authority was around, it would never get printed. I was going to read number 2, but I was eating, so I decided not to. But the Batgirl one was the first Batgirl title I ever read, and the first 2 issues were good. The other ones, so-so. Then I read Shazam number 3, 12 Shots. I will say 12 Shots was a disappointment. I do own the licensing to that one. That was actually part of the Stuff Your Kindle Day. That was last year. But not really anything exciting. Then I got Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider number 8. Number 8. And yeah. That was good. That was a good one. I read that on my Kindle. A lot of fun to read, and I just had a blast reading it. It's basically about, this app that's being used, and people are basically attacking people, and we all find out that it's all like just, orchestrated by this character called Mr. Fear. And he kind of reminds me a lot about the Scarecrow. And I find out that actually his character's from the 60s. From the 60s. So he is definitely not a new character, and I did not know that. Then we have Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen, the first book in the Noodle Shop mystery. And it is about a guy, their landlord, who ends up dead. He had a severe shrimp allergy. And we find out the craziest thing of why he was killed. And I read this and I'm like, this is so stupid. This really is. This is a stupid reason to kill someone. But yeah. So I gave it 5 stars. It was a good book. Then I read Shazam number 4, which introduces Queen Bee. I don't know if she's an old character or a new one. Zeus is Zeus. He's weird. Then we got Power Girl. I really was not a fan of the first issue of Power Girl. But yeah. All in all, I had a very productive month. I'm now up to 78 books I have read out of 300, and according to Goodreads, my pacing is great. Thank you so much. But yeah. So, anyways, so yeah. So, I am going to end it there. And, yeah, overall, I read comic books, I read regular books, I read a volume, had a lot of fun reading it, and I'm really glad that you can put your comic books on Goodreads, because those are considered books by Goodreads. They're also considered books by the general public, though not everybody might say they're books, but they're books. But anyways, yeah. So I will see you around. Bye.